practice my Korean, but annyeong, hello everyone. It is Malia and we meet again in my quarantine hotel. So it's been 6 days and honestly I've had no motivation to vlog just because I'm kind of doing the same thing every day. I decided that I'm just gonna combine this video with some tips and tricks and things you should bring if you ever decide to come to Korea and need to quarantine. I knew what I was coming into, you know, it was gonna be a 10-day quarantine, and honestly a lot of people are like dreading that, but I didn't really mind it just because this trip was planned so spontaneously. I thought the 10 days was actually going to be a great opportunity to just settle myself, plan my trip, get used to the time zones, especially waking up at 2 a.m. to work. I think this week was very crucial for me and I'm finally used to waking up at 2 a.m. And today is technically Friday in the States and I forgot to set my alarm and my body naturally woke up at 2:30. So I think that this quarantine was actually a really good thing for me to go through. But you know, it's also just to be safe and to keep South Korea and its citizens safe as well. So if you are coming, just remember, please respect South Korea and its quarantine guidelines. It is the best for everyone. But yes, the main thing about the quarantine is that you're here however many days that the government states. So before it used to be 14 days, then it went down to 10, and then as of February 4th, 2022, it is now 7 days. So we're getting there, it's going lower, so that's a good sign. And then I had a lot of questions before coming, like what is actually the length of the quarantine? Because you say 10 days, but does it start the day you get there or the day after? Are you out on the 10th day or are you out on the 11th day? So this is how it works. When you arrive to Korea and on that same day you get to the hotel, that is your first day of quarantine. And then after that, you need to complete whatever number of full days in quarantine before you are released. So if it's a 10-day quarantine, it will be the day you arrived plus 9 more full days. And then on the 11th day that you're in Korea, you will be checking out in the morning. So hopefully that clears up some things, and then you can plan your Airbnb hotel situation accordingly before you get here. And then the biggest things when you're staying in your room is that 1, you cannot leave. The only times you can open that door is to pick up your meals 3 times a day, to throw away the trash 1 time a day, and then they do 2 COVID tests on you throughout your stay. 1 on your first day and 1 2 days before you leave. And then just a side note, those COVID tests are insane, just because I have gotten COVID tests only in the States and they only swab like this part of your nose and you're good to go. But here, they literally, the first time, let me take off my glasses for a demonstration. The first time she came in, I was just expecting a nice little swab and she said, okay, I'm gonna do your COVID test, and I went, okay, sounds good. And then she literally stuck that Q-tip all the way up my brain, and I was too stunned to speak.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
I've never gotten a COVID test that far up before. You know what, call me a wimp in the comments if you want, but it did kind of hurt. You know, it's fine, I'm not overreacting or anything, but I'm just gonna warn you that the COVID tests here, they really like stick it up into your brain. So be prepared for that. And then the second time she did it, I was very prepared, but it still hurts. So that's a little note about the COVID test. And then the second biggest rule is just there's no smoking or drinking allowed, and they remind you every single day because every single morning on the loudspeakers they play 2 announcements.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. Please check your health conditions and submit it through the applications you've installed in your phone.
1, to log your health screening every day on your phone, and then 2, to say that there is suspected rooms of smoking, and that if they catch you smoking, they're gonna deport you and ban you from South Korea for like a some number of years. So do not smoke in the rooms. I don't see why there's a reason to smoke anyway. So don't smoke in the rooms, don't drink either, and don't leave. And then other than that, you should be fine. Okay, now let's talk about the food. And while we talk about the food, I actually got my lunch a while ago. I haven't eaten it yet just because I'm not hungry. But the food here in quarantine is honestly good. I wouldn't say it's bad. It just does get repetitive because it's kind of just the same types of meats, same types of banchan, same types of carbs. There's like not a huge variety, so you kind of feel like you're eating the same thing every single day, so it does get old. But the food quality is good. Like you can see that it looks fresh, it looks well made. The meat quality is pretty good here. The only thing is that they don't give a lot, which is fine for me because I don't really eat too much to begin with. But if you're someone who has a really big appetite and you need a lot of meat, it might be hard for you just because this is all that they provide. I don't know if you can ask for more. You can, but I haven't done it myself, so I'm not too sure on that. But yeah, the breakfast is typically on the lighter side. I've seen chicken nuggets, corn dogs, sandwiches, so I've been enjoying the breakfasts the most just because they're the least heavy. Also, the breakfast includes sweet things, like I've had waffles and cereal, and those are typically the only like sweet things within the 3 meals a day, so I really appreciate that. And then lunch is more on the Korean side. It's typically like a meat, like a beef, pork, or chicken dish. And they give you rice, banchan, or sides to go with it. And then for dinner, I haven't really figured out like a trend for dinner. I've been getting fried chicken, chicken katsu. I got a bagel one time. So for me, I would rank it breakfast, dinner, and lunch. I feel like lunch, I typically don't eat 3 meals a day. So lunch, I kind of just pick at it because I'm still full from the breakfast. But yeah, I would say breakfast, dinner, and lunch is how I would rank the meals. And then every breakfast and sometimes lunch, they always give you a drink. I'm really excited for this one. It's an apple cold, but I've been getting also like mango juice, apple juice, milk, tomato juice, chocolate milk, so different drinks. So yeah, a huge variety of drinks, but they only give you 1 a day, sometimes 2, so if you need something more than just water, definitely consider bringing your own drinks. Oh, and a note on water, you don't need to worry because they literally give you like a week's supply of water, so you're good to go on that. But if you think the food is not enough for you, you actually can order food to be delivered to your room. There's just a few rules with that. It cannot be hot food, so you can't, like for example, order food kind of like a DoorDash or Uber Eats from a restaurant. The only things you can order are groceries, but they have to also be non-perishable. So packaged snacks, ramen, anything that, you know, isn't fresh is allowed. Fresh fruit, I believe, is not allowed, and dairy is not allowed, so milk products, they're gonna throw that away. So if you think the meals are not enough for you and you didn't bring your own snack, you can definitely order food from Korean websites like Coupang or Gmart. I haven't tried it myself just because I brought enough to sustain me these next few days, but it is an option if you do need it. Okay, glasses back on, but now let's talk about some things that you should consider bringing for your quarantine in Korea. I'm not going to go over things like medicine, clothes, electronics, because those are pretty standard for the most part. You know, clothes, just pick whatever is within the season. Medication, that's a given, also very personalized. Electronics, whatever electronics you want to bring. So I'm just going to go through things that I think would specifically help you for quarantining in this hotel. First thing, oh no! First thing you should bring is snacks. So I've talked about the meals before, but they give you meals 3 times a day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they do start getting old. So it would be a good idea to bring things like instant noodles, just because, you know, who doesn't love instant noodles? I could eat these every day. I ended up not eating as much as I thought. I think I brought like 6 packs, but I only actually ate 1, but that's just because I don't have an appetite right now. But if you think you might get tired of the food or it might not even be enough for you, definitely consider bringing like instant noodles. I also brought instant curry packages that I haven't eaten but will eat. So whatever is non-perishable that you can heat up, consider bringing it. Also, don't forget snacks. I brought like 3 bags of these honey butter chips and then 2 boxes of these Cheez-Its. They don't provide snacks at all throughout the day or even during mealtime. It's just the breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So if you get hungry throughout the day and need something to munch on, bring snacks. Also recommend bringing like cookies or some sort of dessert. They don't really give dessert here, and I have a sweet tooth, so I've been craving something sweet this whole week. They only give like sweet stuff during breakfast, but it's not a lot. So if you have a sweet tooth, definitely consider bringing like a bag of cookies or chocolate or something just to satisfy that. I also brought some tea and some emergency. This has been good. I drink emergency almost every day, so that's just a personal thing of mine, but bringing tea or instant coffee coffee. I've seen YouTubers bring a whole ass coffee, like a mini coffee machine to quarantine. So if that's something you need, definitely bring it, because I was not given a single thing of coffee this entire time. I've seen in other YouTube quarantine videos, they've been giving coffee for some reason. I was not given any, and it's been such a struggle, especially because of my work hours. Once 5 a.m. hits, I'm pretty drained and I could use like a cup. So if coffee is something you need, definitely bring instant coffee, and if you can manage it in your luggage, bring a coffee maker. Why not? If we want to backtrack to the noodles, people are probably wondering, how do you cook the ramen? Do you have a microwave? No, there is no microwave here, so bring an instant pot. I got this off Amazon. Also, I'll link all the things that I got on Amazon below. But I got this instant pot, and it's been very useful to heat up the 1 pack of ramen that I've eaten. But I've seen other people be able to use this to heat up the food that the facility provides, because the thing is, since the food is not made in the hotel, it's actually made offsite and is delivered to the various hotels all around the area, it comes cold. So if cold meals isn't something that you can bear, definitely consider bringing the pot so that you could reheat it, at least like the rice and the meat. The hotel also provides a kettle for you, but it's very small and I don't think you'd be able to cook things in here. Also, I don't know if you would want to cook things in here. I don't know how clean these are. So definitely consider bringing a pot. They're pretty cheap on Amazon and you can fit it in your luggage, and I'm probably not gonna bring it back. I think I'm just gonna leave it here to save space. But yes, another idea. And then you're probably wondering, well, how do I plug in that pot? Will the electricity be able to take it? No, it will not. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need to buy a converter for the electricity here. This is different from an adapter. I also recommend buying adapters as well. I don't really understand science, but basically, if you have a high energy power using electronic like that pot, or hair appliances like curlers, blow dryers, anything that uses a lot of energy, a simple adapter like one of these that just adapts to the specific plug here will not work. Like, these are meant for things with low energy, like chargers pretty much. So still bring these, because you might have a lot of things that you need to plug, like your laptop, your phone, your Apple Watch, whatever. So I got like 4 of these. But it would also be a good idea to get a converter as well, because from my understanding, these will convert the energy from the high power using electronics so that they don't fry when you plug them in over here. So if you use an adapter example with that pot, it's probably going to burn inside. But if you use the converter, then it's going to prevent that from happening. So definitely get both. They're different. So this next thing I ended up not using actually for myself. I thought I was going to, so it might not be necessary for everyone, but it's still maybe good to bring just in case. But it is sink detergent and a clothesline. So I will explain this later, but basically because of government changes, my quarantine was cut short to 7 days and the 10 days. So I actually didn't have a need to wash my clothes. I was planning to use this sink detergent and wash it in the bathroom sink or the tub, and then I was gonna use this clothesline to hang it in the room, but I have enough clothes for 7 days, so I ended up not using these. But if you're ever quarantining anywhere else and it's pretty long, like 10 to 14 days, maybe consider using this just so that you can wash and dry your clothes while you're there. So yes, another tip. The next thing I suggest bringing is exercise equipment. So I brought a jump rope because I was really into jump roping earlier last year, but then I tried doing it in this little corner and it did not work just because of the carpet and there's no space. But if you end up being in a room that's very spacious, maybe you can jump rope. But I also brought these resistance bands. I've been using them to like do squats and stuff and just feel some type of burn with my exercises. I feel like I've been feeling very tired here just because I don't get my morning workout in anymore. So if working out is something that you like to do, definitely bring these bad boys with you. And then this isn't specifically for quarantine. I think you should bring this if you ever travel internationally, but some language books. I'm trying to learn the language. It's really hard, by the way. Korean is so hard to learn. So any language books so that you can, you know, pass the time and just go through it, review it, and then once you're out of quarantine, you'll have some basic knowledge for you. So yes, bring some of these too. Some disinfecting wipes. They do provide you a spray bottle, I think of like a disinfectant, but disinfecting wipes are a lot easier to use, and I literally like disinfected this whole room when I got here just to be safe. I heard they don't really like clean it very thoroughly in between stays, so any disinfecting wipes is very useful. But yes, that is pretty much some of the things that I would definitely suggest bringing if you ever quarantine in Korea or like any country to begin with. So hopefully you found that useful and you'll know what to bring if you ever end up coming here. The time here has been good so far. I know my experience is definitely different from others. I know for some people being isolated for a long amount of time can be really hard on them, so definitely consider if quarantining is something that you can handle and you can do, just because it can be a lot for someone, and you know, you have to remember to take care of yourself first. But I do recognize that being in isolation for some people can be really hard, especially if it is for as long as 7 or 10 or 14 days. So if you do want to come and travel but you think that the quarantine might be very hard on you mentally, definitely reconsider, just because there's no way that you can go around it, and I want everyone to be able to take care of themselves mentally first. Just definitely keep that in mind. If you don't have family here and you're not going to be able to quarantine, you know, at a family's house, and you have to do it here in a hotel room, just really like know what you're getting yourself into. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I do need to pack now because I'm actually leaving tomorrow. You can see all my suitcases there, just because, like I said, they shortened my quarantine from 10 days to 7 days. So I'm kind of in a panic and frenzy right now, so I definitely should pack. But once again, if you have any questions about quarantining in South Korea in 2022, if you're planning to come here or are just curious, please put them in the comments. I really relied on these types of videos to understand how this quarantine works, just because there are no answers, or I couldn't find any of my answers googling them or checking those embassy websites. So if you have any questions, I will try my best to answer it. I don't know all the answers, like I'm gonna say that right now. I might not know everything, but I'll try to help as best as I can. But my next video, you'll probably see me out and about in South Korea, in Seoul, so I can't wait for that. But thank you so much once again for tuning in. If you did like this video and you want to see more Korea content for the next 2 months, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell button. Until then, see you soon. Bye!